4th season of the Splicer, we got a nice little shake up in the department of the world loot pool for Destiny 2. A bunch of new guns were added, and those guns are from the future war cult. Now, these are weapons that we've already had before in Destiny, however they were from Vanilla, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind, so they never really had random rolls. Bungie decided that with Lakshmi and the future war cult's involvement in the story, to bring these bad boys back and give them random rolls and let us have at it whenever it comes to trying them out. And I'm pleased to say that out of the 6 FWC weapons that were reissued, 3 of them are absolute must-haves in my opinion, with one of them being a super unique and fun weapon to use in PvP, unlike most others. Now, just like with all my videos that cover full-on weapon sets, today we're going to be ranking them from best to worst, so I don't waste your time for the first 5 minutes talking about weapons that aren't even good. We also go over all the god rolls for each weapon, as well as how to get your hands on them and farm them out. So before we do jump into it, I just want to remind you guys that if you enjoy the content today, definitely feel free to subscribe if you're new, and maybe drop a comment down below. I read my comments every single day, and it's always a blast talking with you guys. But without further ado, let's hop into the video. So before we get to talking about these weapons, let's just quickly discuss how to get your hands on them in the first place. As I said earlier, these weapons are in the world loot pool, so that means they can come from legendary engrams, the gunsmith, token turn-ins with the Vanguard, etc. But if you want to outright focus farm them, they're also available in the Umbral engrams inside of the helm. You can use decrypted data that you get from Override and the seasonal challenges to focus these engrams into getting exactly what you want. It can either be the full FWC loot table from these 6 reissues, or specific FWC weapons inside of your Umbrals. So now that you know how to farm them out, let's go ahead and start out with the best weapon for today's video, the Stochastic variable. For the first weapon of the day, we're going to be talking about an SMG that I get constant questions about when I'm using it on my Twitch streams, and that SMG is the Stochastic variable, and is by far the best weapon the future war cult has to offer out of these 6 reissues. Stochastic variable is a 900 RPM arc energy SMG, and it comes with some absolute nasty rolls. If you enjoy Death Adder or Escape Velocity, chances are you'll like this even more due to its array of perks. I was lucky enough to get a roll with Feeding Frenzy multi-kill clip earlier in the season, and when I tell you that this thing shreds, it shreds through enemies like you're using a lament on a baby fallen. Of course, 900 RPMs are pretty decent for PvP as well, but I tried it out and I would honestly stick to weapons like the new Trials SMG or the multi-mock for your SMG PvP fix, but we'll go over those rules regardless. Taking a look at the PvE rolls for this weapon, for the magazine we have things like a Pendant Mag for the extra magazine capacity, and even a really rare magazine called Phase Magazine. This changes the weapon from a 900 RPM to a 600 RPM, but it's 100% not worth using, as it doesn't even bring up your range to account for the slower rate of fire, and you're better off just using an actual 600 RPM at that point. For the first column, we got 2 absolute amazing perks in the form of Ambitious Assassin and Feeding Frenzy. If you were a fan of having overflow on your escape velocity, then Ambitious Assassin might help build that void for you. For the final column, we got multi-kill clip, and that's pretty much the only option you want. For PvP, you have the likes of High Cow for flinching your enemies and giving you more range, Killing Wind for extra range after a kill, and Multi-Kill Clip for even more damage after a kill. I'm a big fan of the synergy of these perks because one kill gives you both more damage and reduces the damage fall off at a distance, making it a Guardian melting machine. Stochastic variable is quite a good SMG, and as I said earlier, you can farm this just like all the FWC weapons from either the world loot pool, so just random drops, or you can focus farm it in the helm from the Umbral engrams. Now, moving on over from the Stochastic variable, we have a gun that honestly would have been number 1, but unlike Stochastic, its only use is found in PvE, which I would rank it an easy A tier in that department anyways. The weapon I'm talking about is the Vision. This sidearm is an Arc Amalon adaptive frame, making it a 3-burst monster, and combining its frame with its god tier perks, you have yourself one of the best feeling sidearms to ever use in PvE. Taking a look at the perks, we have Tac Mag as your magazine for the extra reload and bullets. We also have Ambitious Assassin in the first slot to overfill your mag depending on the kills you get, as well as a slew of damage perks in the form of Kill Clip, One for All, and Swash. If you ever plan on using sidearms in in-game content, Disruption Break is there for you as well. My own personal role is Ambitious Assassin Swash, and it does absolute work inside of PvE. As you guys know, burst sidearms are some of my favorite weapons in the game, and the Vision has no problem continuing to make that that true for me. Now, for this weapon, you also have a pretty wacky PvE build as well in the form of Extended Mag, Grave Robber, and Swash, while also using something like Liar's Handshake on Hunter. This allows you to refill the magazine upon killing with melees, and this synergizes with Swash by giving you 5 damage stacks, and also synergizes with Handshake as you can easily deal tons of damage with follow-up melee strikes. So that's a bit of a bonus roll for you guys if you're bored and want to have a really fun build to play around with. All in all though, the sidearm's absolute meta, and you need to get your hands on it. Now, moving on over from the Vision, we have one of my all-time favorite auto rifles in Destiny 2 history. Like, seriously, I used to use this weapon back during Trials of the Nine, and with Season of the Splicer, its archetype even got a buff. Of course, I'm talking about the Number. Now, the Number is mainly going to find use inside of PvP if I'm being honest with you, but it does have quite some usability in PvE as it's one of the only arc autos in the game that isn't Sunset, only accompanied by Shadow Price. Now, speaking of Shadow Price, I know this is going to sound weird, but despite Shadow Price having better stats, I just can't get over how the Number feels in PvP. It's one of those things that's hard to describe, but the Number just feels so much smoother and snappy in PvP to me than Shadow Price. Its usage at medium range just makes this thing an absolute monster for anyone challenging you from that distance, and it allows you to hold lanes very effectively. Taking a look at the PvP rolls, we have things like High Cal for extra flinch and range. In the first column, we have Killing Wind to give you extra range after a kill, and in the second column, we have High Impact Reserves giving your last few bullets extra damage, as well as multi-kill clip. Despite my numbers specifically having really bad rolls, this thing felt amazing to use in PvP, and I highly recommend it to anyone wanting to use auto rifles inside the Crucible. Now, like I said, this weapon does have some usability in PvE as well because of the element, so let's take a look at the PvE rolls. For the mag, we have Appended for extra magazine bullets, we also have Killing Wind yet again for the extra range for less damage fall off, and in the last column we have either One for All or multi-kill clip. I personally would rather use Shadow Price in PvE due to things like Adept Big Ones, better range, and the better first column perks, but for PvP, I just can't get over the feel of Amalon auto rifles, and I would pick the Number any day of the week over the Shadow Price as I just absolutely love the feel of the weapon. If you're a big fan of auto rifles in PvP, the Number is a must-have for you, and you absolutely need to get it from the Umbral Engrams or just as a random drop. Now, moving on over from the Number, we have a very niche grenade launcher that although won't see use 90% of the time, the use that you do get out of it will be quite enjoyable. Of course, we're going to be talking about the Memory Interdict. This weapon is an adaptive frame void grenade launcher, and it finds itself with a pretty fun set of perks to give it some nice PvP potential as a meme weapon. Taking a look at the rolls, we have the likes of Sticky Nades as the magazine. Want to piss people off? Grab heavy ammo, shoot these into the doorway of a room, and watch people walk inside only to get blown up. You can also run Quick Draw to just pull this thing out quicker to shoot it when you need to on the run, as well as Chain Reaction to potentially get multi-kills on people running in groups. This weapon also, interestingly enough, has Impulse Amplifier, but I don't see it getting that much use unless you want to use this weapon as a normal GL in PvP, but I'm just wanting to highlight the fun nature of the weapon, as I don't know many people who strictly chase heavy GL PvP God Rolls. For PvE, this weapon doesn't really have much use at all. It'll easily get outdone in the DPS department by weapons like Crowd Pleaser and Interference, and don't even bother with using this for ad clear when special grenade launchers already do this better like the Empty Vessel and Salvo. There's just no reason to waste heavy ammo in PvP on a job that is accomplished more effectively by weapons that you'll have much more ammo for anyways. All in all though, the grenade launcher is very fun in PvP, but you're just not going to find much use for it in PvE. Now, moving on over from the memory, we have FWC's shotgun, the Deicide. Now, this weapon's going to be more of a shotgun that you run from time to time for fun, rather than for meta purposes. It's a void rapid fire frame shotty with pretty okay PvE perks and abysmal PvP potential, so we'll stick to the PvE side of things. For the rolls, I'd run with Appended Mag for the extra mag size, as well as Lead from Gold in the first slot and Vorpal in the second. Unfortunately, this weapon doesn't have the likes of Trench Barrel, and honestly, if this thing could roll with Trench Barrel and Vorpal, I could see it being quite insane, but unfortunately, it doesn't. This weapon is useful when getting in the faces of high value enemies and unloading all your shells while having Vorpal as a perk to completely melt them away. There are plenty of other shotguns that are better for this though, and with the Deicide having pretty much nothing to offer in PvP, it finds itself in a weird space. Yes, it's good for PvE and fun to use, but as I said, you could replace it with almost anything to get the exact same job done, if not done better. Nothing special is going on with this weapon, so let's go ahead and move on to the last FWC weapon on the list. With every other weapon in this video, I've been able to say at least one good thing about them and assign them a specific use. However, with the FWC Scout Rifle, the Pleiades Corrector, if I had to guess, I have nothing good to say. This weapon is a lightweight frame solar scout rifle, and it just isn't good in the slightest. The perks it comes with for PvE could be a pinned mag, outlaw, and multi-kill clip, but there are also plenty of better scouts out there than this little pea shooter. Now, you might also be asking, what about its PvP potential? I mean, outlaw multi-kill clip sounds like a nice combo, right? Well, it would be pretty good if this weapon didn't have the most obnoxious sight to use in the entire game. Aiming this thing makes me think that I'm using a sniper rifle, and I just can't see anything around me except for the tiny area that I'm focusing on when aimed down. I always feel extremely vulnerable when using this thing in PvE, and you're just going to be better off using other scout rifles or just any other gun in general. The Pleiades Corrector is probably one of my most hated weapons, like in Destiny. It just doesn't have a use whatsoever. I would never see myself ever using this thing. I can't say enough bad things about it. I don't like it, don't farm it, don't do anything, just leave it in the dirt, let it die, and just use other things. Pleiades Corrector, you suck, but all the other weapons, they at least got something going for them. But guys, that's pretty much it for the video. Today we went over all of the future War Cult weapons, ranking them from best to worst, going over the God Rolls, talking about how to farm them, and everything in between. Guys, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I absolutely love making these types of videos, so if you did enjoy it, definitely feel free to leave a like, and if it's your first time watching my content, definitely feel free to subscribe. If you made it to this point in the video, also, big thank you to you, because you're part of the reason why my videos have been making it to recommended, and we've been getting a bunch of new subscribers as of late. So if you're one of those people that's listening to this, you have a huge cock, and that's pretty much all I gotta say about it. But guys, that's it for the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.